and of raw brutality that turned every fight into a story of survival. From the moment Iron Mike stepped into the ring, his opponents weren't simply fighting for belts or paychecks. They were fighting to hold on to their dignity, to prove that their size, their reach, or their records could withstand the storm of a man who had. But the drama surrounding Mike Tyson was never just about boxing. It was about fear, dominance, and the kiilt his life around, unleashing violence at breathtaking speed. Yet time and again, these towering giants walked into the ring convinced that height, weight, and arrogance would be enough to topple the king. They couldn't have been more wrong. Tyson's aura was different from any other champion in history. He didn't stroll toward the ring draped in flashy robes or soaking up cheers. He marched, silent and focused, like an executioner walking toward his next task. He didn't dance around like Ali, didn't taunt like Mayweather. He was a storm contained inside human flesh, waiting for the bell to unleash destruction. And no matter how big, how strong, or how confident his opponents were, they all learned the same painful truth. There was no greater punishment than disrespecting Mike Tyson. The year was 1987. Mike Tyson was in his prime, unbeaten, unstoppable, and feared by every man in the heavyweight division. The champion's record was flawless, his knockouts brutal. It was during this reign that a towering opponent emerged, a man who believed he could outsize and outlast Tyson. Tony Tucker, a man known as TNT, was undefeated with an impressive 34-0 record. He was taller, rangier, and carried himself with the smugness of a man who thought he had already cracked the code to defeating Iron Mike. Tucker had knocked out Buster Douglas, the very man who years later would hand Tyson his first shocking defeat. And now, standing across the ring from Tyson, Tucker believed he was destined to humble the youngest heavyweight champion in history. But the thing about Mike Tyson was simple. You could not intimidate him. From the opening bell, Tyson came forward with his signature bobbing head movement, launching sledgehammer hooks at Tucker's body. Each thudding shot was meant not only to hurt, but to send a message. Size didn't matter, reach didn't matter, arrogance didn't matter. Still, Tucker was no pushover. He fired back with crisp jabs and heavy right hands, showing surprising skill for a man his size. For a moment, the crowd held its breath. Was this giant actually standing toe-to-toe with Tyson? That's when the arrogance began. Tucker mocked Tyson, showboating as though he were fighting a child, rather than the most feared man on earth. He smirked, he taunted, he tried to convince the world that Tyson's myth was nothing but hype. But that was his fatal mistake. You don't play games with a lion. Every gesture of disrespect fueled Tyson's rage. He began stalking Tucker with even more ferocity, cutting off the ring, pounding his ribs, and forcing him backward. Round after round, the giant's confidence crumbled under Tyson's relentless assault. By the final bell, Tucker's arrogance was nothing but dust. Tyson walked away with the victory, still undefeated, still untouchable, and still the undisputed king of boxing. But Tyson wasn't done with giants. Another undefeated Goliath soon stepped forward, Michael Spinks. Spinks was no ordinary fighter. He was the former undisputed light heavyweight champion and had climbed into the heavyweight ranks with success. Fans and experts alike believed this was the true test for Tyson. Even Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, attended ringside, curious to see if this so-called Kid Dynamite could withstand a true champion. The hype was enormous. Headlines declared it the fight of the year, a battle between two unbeaten men destined for war. But Mike Tyson doesn't do wars. He does executions. The opening bell rang, and within seconds, Tyson exploded. He didn't test Spinks out, didn't circle, didn't give him room to breathe. He cut the ring instantly, forcing Spinks against the ropes. Every punch was venom. Spinks tried to throw back, tried to keep his composure, but Tyson's fists were too fast, too heavy, too devastating. The crowd was stunned. This wasn't going to be a drawn-out battle. It was going to be a slaughter. And then, with a thunderous right hand, Tyson put Spinks flat on his back. The fight didn't even last a full round. 31 seconds. That's all it took for Tyson to destroy one of the most anticipated opponents of his career. Spinks never fought again. His career ended the very night he dared to step into the ring with Iron Mike. The message was clear. The bigger they are, the faster they fall. But giants kept coming. Next in line was Mike Jamison, a towering fighter who believed that his sheer size would be enough to crush Tyson. Jamison strutted into the ring convinced that Tyson was just a short, stocky brawler who couldn't handle a true colossus. Yet when the bell rang, that confidence evaporated. Tyson attacked him like prey. His body shots echoed like cannon fire, thudding against Jameson's ribs and sucking the air from his lungs. For a brief moment, Jameson fought back, landing shots that made the crowd gasp. But against Tyson, those punches felt like mosquito bites against a charging bull. By the fourth round, Tyson unleashed a barrage of hooks and uppercuts that sent Jameson crashing to the canvas. The giant got up, shaking his head, trying to show he wasn't hurt. But everyone in the arena knew the truth. Tyson had broken him. Moments later, Jameson was finished. Another fallen giant on Tyson's ever-growing list of victims. Then came Terrell Biggs, a man who had once been destined for NBA stardom but instead chose the brutal world of boxing. Biggs carried himself with arrogance, openly mocking Tyson before the fight. He claimed he would beat Mike like a father disciplining a child. His long reach and superior height gave him confidence, and in the early rounds it looked like he might have a strategy. Biggs kept Tyson at bay with his jab, using his size to frustrate the shorter man. For a moment, it seemed his plan was working, but arrogance always has a price. Biggs dropped his guard, taunting Tyson, daring him to come forward. That was all Tyson needed. With explosive speed, he closed the distance, slipping past Biggs's jab and launching a savage left hook. The sound of the punch echoed as Biggs staggered backward. Tyson smelled blood. He pummeled the giant with combinations, breaking him down round after round until Biggs could barely stand. In the seventh round, Tyson ended it decisively. Another giant silenced. Another man who had underestimated him reduced to rubble. But perhaps no opponent showed more arrogance outside the ring than Mitch Green, a gang leader from the streets of New York. Green was brash, loud, and relentless in his trash talk. He threatened Tyson, swore he would kill him in the ring, and treated the fight like a personal war. But when the bell rang, Green's words meant nothing. Tyson came out like a locomotive, his fists flying with destructive intent. Round after round, Tyson battered Green, turning his face into a swollen, bloody mess. Green fought back with courage, but stamina was his downfall. His punches lost power, his accuracy faded, and Tyson turned the fight into a one-sided beating.